Hi everyone, it's Saratoga. So my back is still in a healing process, although it is improving. It's just kind of a slow process. So until that is complete, I will be doing audio messages for you until I can get back to my on-camera videos. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this. I'm certainly enjoying creating them for you. Today I want to talk to you guys about what to expect in the month of June, because June is going to test everyone in completely new ways. Now, these are not psychic predictions. What I look for is trajectories. What is the trajectory of events as they are occurring right now? A trajectory is very similar to a timeline. It's just more precise because it indicates the already manifesting direction of the actual current event's momentum. So let's take a look at what has momentum right now. As you know, I like to talk about current events and where they are headed because these are precisely the things that we have to navigate in our cosmic evolution as human beings, because we do live on an actual physical planet, right? Now, we will be able to do this best if we are conscious and aware of the direction of events before they completely unfold. The way the world is now, we need for our consciousness to be adjusted on a daily level, almost like a steering wheel, so that we are able to stay on our chosen evolutionary path. Essentially, we need to practice having a steady hand on our own direction at a cosmic level and at an earth-based level simultaneously. That way we are making real progress during our time here on Earth. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you can just end up in sort of a waiting mode where you spend your life waiting for things to happen before you decide what to do. And here's the thing. If you need to wait for things to happen before you yourself can know what to do, you're no longer a sovereign being. You're not living a sovereign, independent life. You actually become vulnerable to things happening around you that can easily put you in a fear-based, reactive state of confusion and uncertainty. Now, before I get into what we can expect in the month of June, I want to pause for a moment and offer you guys a free gift that I think is going to be genuinely useful for where we are right now in the world. Here's something I've noticed in all the years I've been working with spiritually conscious people. The more aware you are, the more you feel. And that sensitivity is not a flaw. It's a part of who you are. However, when there's no clear grounding structure underneath it, all of that sensitivity becomes, guess what? Absorption. And absorption over time becomes overwhelm. So I put together a free guide for you all, and I want you to have it. It's called 5 Steps to Stay Centered in an Anxious World. And it gives you a practical, concrete structure for reclaiming your inner sovereignty, regardless of what is happening around you. This is not a bunch of tips to calm down or relax your nervous system or anything like that. It's an actual structure that helps you close the gaps through which anxiety can enter. So these 5 steps will walk you through taking conscious command of your inner world, your physical body, your personal vision, your plan, and your time. And when all 5 of those are tended to, the world's instability has nowhere to take root in you. It's more than just a feeling. It's an actual foundation in your consciousness that you can build for yourself. And this guide is completely, entirely free. So all you have to do is click the link in the description below, tell me where you want me to send it, and I will send it right away. See, you don't need for the world to stabilize in order for you to feel centered. That's the whole point. And this guide is where that begins. Okay, now let's get back to today's message. Let's talk about what we can expect in the month of June. Now, I also want to add that I'm not sharing this with you so that you can be informed about things that you might possibly need to react to. I'm suggesting this from a place of expanding your awareness of events in such a way that you do not have to be reactive. Instead, you can be in command of what you are doing with your own life and not be steered off your path because of unexpected changes in the world. So let's start with some of the main things that we're going to see shaping our reality in June. The first thing is that I believe ET disclosure will start coming to a head. Next, in the US, I think the 250th anniversary of the United States on July 4th will become an increasing distraction from everything because they're going to start building up to that big date sometime this month. And then after that, this is for the US, you guys, because this seems to be where disclosure is focused. After that, the politicians in this country are going to focus on the midterm elections and everything else is going to take a back seat. So you see how they can sweep everything under the rug, even with just these two things? So my current sense about June is that it's not going to lead to any real dramatic change. Instead, it could, unfortunately, lead to more entrenchment. I think the powers that be are going to gloss over everything until they can distract us into whatever else they want us to focus on next. I also think that the wars will likely continue, but hopefully they won't expand any further. And here's another one. The true situation about AI will come more and more to the forefront. People are going to start realizing that it is not the magical, all-powerful technology that we were sold in the beginning. That's just not true. Now, overall, I think that June and possibly moving into July could represent a crossroads for our collective humanity. We are either going to move more deeply into the entrenched world that the controllers are putting together for us, or something will change within humanity that will break these controllers' efforts down and force them to move things in a better direction. See, these controllers cannot do anything about 7 or 8 billion people who are waking up their minds and intending to live differently. I think that is already starting to happen somewhat. I think people are becoming more and more fed up with the world that we are currently being presented with. People are becoming more fed up with how contrived, how fake, and how random everything seems to be. They're getting tired of the people in charge giving us garbage and calling it a life. It's becoming increasingly evident that this planet is being run by a bunch of utterly incompetent, clueless people. And that is not to mention the fact that they are also a bunch of professional liars. Now, I think we had a chance with disclosure for a disruption in their entrenched reality, but I don't know if it's going to play out that way. If disclosure does not fully play out in June or even in July, I think it's just going to get buried again and they'll have people focused on something else. Here's what we need to know. The powers that are repressing disclosure are huge. And I don't know if the people who want to know what is actually going on have the power themselves to overcome that. I saw an interesting interview with Congressman Tim Burchett. He's one of the people who have been pushing for full disclosure for a very long time. He said the people who have control over this information are unelected bureaucrats. He said they're extremely arrogant, and what they do is they give the information to corporations so that no one can legally get it from the corporations. If they kept it in the government, people could legally get it through the Freedom of Information Act. But once they give it to private corporations, no one can touch it. That's part of what's making it so difficult. Which begs the question, why do we continue to look to the government to give us the truth? They're not going to because they don't even have the truth. The corporations do. There's an interesting new way to look at this, right? Anyway, so Congressman Burchett said, one of the most disturbing things he was told was this. He asked if the president knew, and they answered, the president is on a need-to-know basis, which means the president has no control over how much or what gets released. Now, I think this goes all the way back to what I told you guys about President Eisenhower in 1954 and how the military-industrial complex made a side deal with the aliens, which many have framed as an actual coup against the office of the President of the United States. Because ever since then, the president does not appear to have the power to do very much about this. Someday I'll have to tell you guys some pretty amazing stories that I've heard, but that's for another time. So the situation we're in is this. The people who have the actual information are the people who do not want it released. The people who want it released apparently do not have very much power to make that happen. So it's all a bunch of rhetoric. And this is where you can see that it is giant corporations that are actually controlling our planet right now. It's not the politicians like we may have thought. Now, lately I've been talking a lot about Spielberg's Disclosure Day movie opening on June the 12th. I've been very negative about this movie because it certainly looks like a total mind control effort to further their agenda of establishing fear and cover-up of extraterrestrials. But as I investigated further, I thought of a way that this movie could provide a twist in the controllers' plans that could potentially mess up their secretive agenda. It all has to do with how the public reacts. Now, this is all speculation because I obviously have not seen the movie. Now, from what I understand, it seems like the main plot of the movie is focused on the fact that the government is hiding extraterrestrial information from the world. So here's what could work in our favor. If the movie ends in such a way that the audience becomes emotionally invested in full disclosure, that would be a very different situation than what is happening right now. See, right now, people are so cynical and so jaded by all of the lies that we are constantly being told by these controllers that disclosure has become almost like a boring topic. I don't think the public is emotionally invested in seeing disclosure. They would like to see it. They think it would be a good idea, but I don't believe there's any emotional investment in it. I think that's because people have already decided that it's never going to happen. Now, here's the really important part, so listen to this very carefully. Let me give you an example of why the public's emotional investment matters. Back in 2020, people were heavily invested emotionally through fear in what they believed was a terrifying disease and pandemic. But now that we've learned a lot of truths about this situation, people are angry and fed up. So as much as these controllers try to present us with a new disease threat of the month, nothing seems to take hold because the public is emotionally deeply against it. People have collectively already made a decision that they are never going back to that situation ever again. Here's the difference. It's a deeply emotional decision. It's not just a mental idea. And emotional decisions carry the greatest power and the highest degree of leverage. Right now, there is little or no emotion at all behind the idea of disclosure at a widespread level. Even though most people probably assume that we are not alone in the universe, they do not expect the powers that be to ever acknowledge that very obvious fact. So it's all just become a big yawn. But if the emotional weight of how disclosure has been hidden from the world becomes greater than any mind control tactics that might be embedded in the movie, that could create a turning point. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it is absolutely obvious to me that there is extraterrestrial life deeply involved with our planet. I have had plenty of firsthand experiences to show me that fact. I think what is most bizarre here on Earth is that it's all being hidden. It's not bizarre that there are extraterrestrials integrated to some extent with our life here on Earth. It's bizarre that no one is willing to acknowledge that fact. So if the movie ends in such a way as to emotionally turn the public against the hiding of disclosure, that could create a massive collective paradigm shift that the controllers will be unable to manage. See, we need to realize that these controllers are not all powerful. Let's take AI for an example of that. It looks like they have really screwed that one up because there were so many lies that were told about it from the very beginning. Well, now many of those lies are coming back to bite them because it's becoming increasingly evident that none of those lies are going to be able to manifest in truth. All the downsides of AI are coming to the forefront, and it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to hide it anymore. So these controllers can really mess things up for themselves because they're actually not all-knowing and all-powerful. So now I have a tiny bit of hope that how the public reacts to the movie Disclosure Day has the potential to work against the controllers' plans rather than help them further their agenda. It really depends on what captures people's focus after seeing this movie. I admit it's a small hope, but at least it is a possibility nonetheless. See, the controllers have not been able to deal with the emotional public backlash against the pandemic in 2020. There's an outside chance that they will likewise also not be able to deal with any worldwide emotional backlash against their lack of disclosure as well. So who knows? All we can do is wait and see what happens. And finally, let me say this about June. In June, we have the solstice occurring on the 21st. I see this as a turning point in energy. In the northern hemisphere, it begins shifting from summer towards autumn, and in the southern hemisphere, it shifts from winter towards spring. In both cases, it is a powerful turning point of energy because the sun has a profound influence on our lives here on planet Earth. So this could also indicate a turning point in the energy of our collective human consciousness. We could end up either more repressed and controlled, or we could experience a massive paradigm shift at a new level of awakening about what has actually been done to this planet. The most important thing that we can do as individuals is to stay true to ourselves and maintain a clear inner compass of exactly the direction that we intend to go in our individual lives. Our inner compass needs to be more powerful than the lies and manipulations that we are exposed to every day on this earth. So I encourage you all to make it a regular practice to revisit your own trajectory in life and reset your direction as often as you find necessary. Take a step back and look at where you are headed right now. Then ask yourself if where you are headed aligns with what you truly intend and desire. Your answer could be yes, no, or somewhere in the middle. Whatever your answer is, make a conscious, firm decision to make any adjustments that you need to make in your larger journey in this life so that you can stay firmly on the track that you personally want to be on. The month of June could potentially test us because I believe that certain things will be decided at a collective level and also at the level of these controllers and their agenda. Now, I would love it if you guys leave me a comment and share your thoughts about all of this. And before you go, remember to get my free 5-step guide to stay centered in an anxious world. The link is in the description below. So I hope you enjoyed this audio message. I am really enjoying creating them for you, and I will be back to doing on-camera video as soon as my back is well enough. But in the meantime, take good care of yourselves, everyone. Have a beautiful day. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste, everyone.